Have all of you here. Thank you, Meta. So welcome. It is April. It feels like the year is almost over, but there is oh so much to do still. And so we are excited that you all are here tonight, post spring break. Could we have next slide, please? And so those of you that have been coming all year are probably tired of me, but I always like to remind us of what our mission is as a PTA, and it's to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. And I feel like that's really important with everything that we have going on, from budget to redistricting right now, just to remember that our goals are to advocate for all the children. And so next up, we've been doing our unit highlight of the month. And this month, I asked Lyles Crouch Traditional Academy to share some things they've been doing, in particular with teacher appreciation. And so I think, Jen, I saw you were on the call. I will hand it over to you. And we have already embedded your slides in the presentation.
Um, Thank you, and please ignore my work background. I did not change that. Excellent. So thanks for giving us a couple of minutes to talk tonight about teacher appreciation. So one thing that I want to say as a start, last year at the end of the year, we did a survey for our school community to just help us decide how we were going to allocate and spend our time and our attention. And the two things that came to the top of the list were student enrichment and teacher and staff appreciation. So this is really something that's been important to our community and driven by that. And so we've done a couple of fun things this year. We always honor every teachers by giving them a custom designed birthday card, handwritten note, and a thank you gift card for them to celebrate their birthday and get a little treat on themselves. Our closest local business that offers coffee closed, so we're providing Starbucks gift cards until we get our new coffee shop installed. But another thing that I think has been really exciting that we do is a monthly treat trolley. And this is a opportunity where we've assigned the grade level room parents essentially to navigate this trolley around our school. So they purchase all the materials and all the fun snacks and load it up, and that visits each floor and each teacher's area where they're hanging out, so that everyone can grab a snack. And we had at the beginning of the year done like a poll with all of our teachers just to make sure that when we have our monthly treat trolley, it features something that everybody is excited to have. And we had like a big conversation about, should we get those bottled Frappuccino things? And everybody's like, we love that when they're on the cart. So we make sure again so that it has something that everybody said is a snack that they really enjoy. So then, Katie, if you show the next slide, another thing that we've started to do is just really think about some special moments during the year, kind of surprises that we can offer to really show our teachers that we're appreciating them. We've had a couple of teachers who've been away with having babies recently, and so we always welcome them back with a gift and something to help them feel like grateful that or feel that we're grateful that they've returned. Um, and then we also, I would say, something that's worked well is we've worked really closely in partnership with our principal to make sure that the things that we're doing are, really complementing the things that she already has as far as staff appreciation and so you really thinking like at the beginning of the year when we have back to school time and everyone's preparing to get the year started, and the teachers have some special moments and things that we do to celebrate them then, as well as in the holiday season and at the end of the year. One thing that we tried that we learned from was last year we were printing, and our communications team is great and they do a lot of really lovely design products from Canva. And so we printed out some like templates for their appreciation day, school bus driver appreciation day, admin staff appreciation day, etc., and sent those home with kids. But hoping that that would, like, having a physical thing there would help them remember to bring back their note of appreciation. And we decided not to continue that this year, like actually sending them home, but do create a bunch of templates for the kiddos to have and print at home if they'd like. And so we make that available, and that was like a little bit more of a environmentally conscious thing, and kind of meet in the middle. But we, do a lot around those appreciation days as well. And the one thing that I think is important, that kind of drove all of this focus is 2 years ago, we had, I think, 25% turnover in teachers in our school, and that's not very typical in Lyles Crouch. So we really, focused on doing this teacher appreciation. And last year, I think like all the teachers stayed. This year, I think we're on track to have maybe 0 to 1 teachers transition out of our school. And we know that nobody's staying for the bagels, but we also know that this is just like a really key part of our culture and helping our teachers and staff feel appreciated. So we do what we can to make them feel like um, we want, they belong in our school, and all of our kids and families respect and care for them. So Flavia put her contact information on the slide. If you like ever need some tips around Canva or using that, our team is awesome. Like, communications is a really strong aspect of our of what we have going on here. So please feel free to reach out to me or her if you have any questions or want to talk about any of this.
Thank you, Jen. Does anyone have any questions for Jen? Part of the reason I wanted them to share about, especially their birthday cards, I love that you do the birthday cards for the teachers, is that Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up in 2 weeks. So if your unit hasn't already planned something, um, please do. And please remember, especially for our Title I schools, we have PTAC equity funds. We would like to help you have an event. So please reach out. Please email me. You want to have a breakfast and it turns out you don't have a budget for that, please let us know, because we have had several units donate to the equity fund, and we would like to help you out. So thank you, Jen. Really appreciate it. Next up, we have our speakers for the night. So first we'll have Dr. Kay Wyatt with her updates, and then we'll have Dr. Hoover and Dr. Dillard, and I believe Dr. Finney as well, supporting an update on technology, and then Dr. Reef should be here with the school board updates.
Well, good evening. I almost said good morning. My mind was still in morning. Good evening. That was exciting. I do have one request. No picture. I feel like I'm staring at myself, so that was kind of weird there, but it's okay. But it was really exciting to see and hear all the great things that are happening to support our teachers. So thank you for sharing all that great Lyles Crouch stuff. So I am going to share my screen. Of course, I have slides. They always tease me. It helps me stay focused and remember. And I am having trouble sharing. Let me keep clicking here. All right, there we go. Let's see here. All righty, there we go. We don't need to see all of this. So I just have a few updates this evening. Strategic planning, of course, redistricting and budget, and then it's summer, so I can't believe that's right around the corner. A few updates with strategic plan. Thank you for if you were serving on that. I think we had a few members from our PTAs a part of this committee. Lots of work, many hours. We did have a public hearing on Monday. Unfortunately, we didn't have anyone show up, so hopefully we did a good job with the work sessions and, people coming to express their interests or concerns about that throughout our process. So thank you if you were one of those members. And on May 8th, we will have our school board vote. So I just wanted to put that out there as a reminder. Last night, we did have our second community meeting for redistricting, and I just want everyone to know there are some key dates here. They're on the website, but we did have three new maps that were shared last night. We are going to do a little bit of an update again tomorrow night if you missed it. So tune into our school board meeting where we'll give some highlights of the three maps that we shared yesterday, as well as kind of some next steps. So I just advise everyone to tune in. Those three new maps that were shared was incorporating all of the feedback from the community, the ask, the poll, and however you communicate with us. We tried to put all that in there. So we're going to be working from those three maps, of course, with some additional input and feedback that you have provided last night. And then we'll get some more from the RAC and work forward there and give you updates as we will have them. Of course, we remind you to stay connected. The maps are up, so please go. We will be updating the FAQs, which are all the questions and things like that that come in through our Ask email. And then moving forward, I just want to thank the PTAs for their support around the budget. Each year, it's very challenging. And when you come and be a voice for us, the city listens. And so it looks like last night we're getting some additional funds. It is one-time funds, but I do know that many PTAs and PTAC have reached out to City Council and the mayor to say, please support our schools. All of that helps. Everything that we do, of course, most of our funding goes to personnel, and we want to make sure we keep those highly qualified teachers that we, recruited last year, retained so well this year. We had some of the best attrition rates and things like that. We just got to maintain, and that's by supporting them with compensation. And so thank you for your advocacy. Now, we will have a superintendent's adjusted budget on May 1st, so please tune in. Now, here's another very important date that I want to talk about. The joint city council school board meeting that's coming up on this coming Monday is that series of meetings that we have with city council about the transportation. So if you can tune in, show up in person, it is around the dash versus our ACPS transportation. So please tune in. We will have a presentation. The city, of course, will also, I believe, have a presentation. So please stay tuned and, please share your concerns or, any questions you may have for both of us when we present on this coming Monday evening. And I believe that's at 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. We have so many meetings, I may get the time mixed up, but that is on our website and as well on the city website. All right, and then we're still planning for summer school. All of the registrations and things are out. Thank you to Dr. Finney and her team for that. That is literally just around the corner, and graduation is on May the 28th. It is a Wednesday, which is a little unique for us. It's first thing in the morning, very early, but we want to make sure that we respect the cultural observance that was happening on that Saturday. So we will be having graduation on a Wednesday this year. And so if you have any other questions or feedback, I just encourage you to reach out as usual. I do get a lot of emails from everyone, and we really appreciate the feedback. So thank you for almost an end. I can't believe it's right around the corner. I'm sorry. After spring break, I counted the days the other day, and we are here getting ready for graduation and summer school. It just seemed to fly by, but really excited to close out another successful year, and just thank you for your support.
I have a question, Dr. K. Wyatt, and this might be a question for both you and Michelle. Since, the city allocation is substantially less, but still it's, something than what the school board had requested, what will be the process in determining how those funds will be utilized?
So yes, I've already been looking at what that funding is going to be like and how we can best put it to use to support our students. The other thing, we're still waiting for the state budget, right? So until we have both of those pieces, it's going to be very hard to determine where we're going to land. And that's what I'll present in that superintendent's adjusted budget. I want you to know that the focus will be protecting everything that we do now. There will have to be some cuts, but we want to make sure that we're keeping our quality staff, providing the quality instruction. And so how can do that with a nice balance so it doesn't look like anything's interrupted. I do know it's a one-time fund, and quite honestly, they cannot direct us how to spend the money. That, we pick and determine how we're going to do that. But we are grateful that they were able to give us, an additional, it looks like just about 1.18, if I remember correctly, just over $1 million dollars. That's going to support our schools. And so we will put that to good use, and we're grateful for their partnership in that regard. But I will present that once I have the final budget from the state. I'm hopeful that the state will come through with a full 3 million, but I don't want to make any determinations or any promises tonight of what that looks like. But it's really, for me, going to be trying to retain our staff and make sure we keep the quality instructional program. Thank you, Ms. McNulty. I thought I saw another hand.
Sue has her hand up.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about Monday's discussion on transportation. Is it just a presentation about the dash? I thought that wasn't for this year's budget. I thought that was being tabled. So is it just like an exploratory conversation, or is there some sort of vote that's happening?
No, there's no vote. It's still exploratory. There's a series that we shared, and I'm sorry, I can't remember all the dates and what the topics are, but it's all around transportation. It is exploratory. I know Dr. Reeve and I were in a meeting, and we made it very clear, and I asked the question, this is not for the upcoming year, because they had it, and if you saw that meeting, I was very concerned that they were tying it to their add delete process for this budget. And that gave me some pause. And so we did question them, and they're saying it's not for this fiscal year coming up. And I think, this is where I need parents to weigh in about your concerns or your questions, and you can share them with us, or really them. But ultimately, we make that decision as well. Now, it is a funding item that would have to be discussed with both bodies, but I've shared some of my concerns. I've asked those questions publicly. Dr. Hart will present some information again on Monday, and I'm sure the city and the city manager staff will have some accompanying slides that they will present as well. But I've shared my concerns. I want to make sure that we can, manage our children during inclement weather and getting them there, and relying on us to do that. I think about field trips at the secondary level. There's just so many questions. So we are still exploratory in that regard, but it's time. If you have a concern, Ms. Brown, if you want to, share something with them or with us to share with them, please do so, and we will pass that along. But it is exploratory.
Yeah, and I think we talked about maybe even doing like a test case in the near future instead of going all out with the dash. So I was just curious if something had moved up. But thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Brown. So I would say, I don't want to give too much of it away because we're going to meet with our school board leadership. I think it's Friday. Is that correct, Dr. Reeve? Get my date straight here, because we are going to possibly mention something about what you just said. So stay tuned. So maybe we should put you on our staff and let you present that for us on Monday. Anyone else? I don't want to miss anyone. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I can't wait for the warm weather. I love the invites to all the picnics. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if nobody else has any questions for Dr. Kay Wyatt, we will move on to Dr. Hoover and her team.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having us. We are here today to talk about where we are with our work with AI. Earlier this fall, Katie and Sally reached out to us with some questions about AI, and we said we would be really ready to give you an update this spring. And so Dr. Dillard is going to share what we shared with the school board and the works we've done since then. But what we were able to do when we started working on this last spring, we did not know we were going to be invited through Virginia Association of School Superintendents to do a year-long generative AI year of learning. And so 12 of us have been able to work together over 5 months. We did professional learning, and it included Dr. Kay Wyatt, Dr. Finney, who's on here, Dr. Everson, who is Director of Online Learning, and Ms. Alford, who is one of our fabulous high school technology integration specialists, as well as some APs and principals and others. And I have to say, it's some of the best professional learning I have done in my many, many years here. But Dr. Dillard is going to present because she has been really leading this initiative and has done a great job. And I know you're going to enjoy what she has to say. So Dr. Dillard, I'm going to let you kick it off.
All right, great. And good evening, everyone. Before I get started, I saw all of the people with new puppies in the chat. We have a puppy here that's just over a year old. He's 60 pounds. We got him at 8 weeks. I love him so much, and I will just say buckle up. It's a lot of fun, but he has he's been an adventure. So just like our AI work has been this year. So what I'll do today is I'm going to walk you through the work that we've done here in ACPS so far. There are 3 key pieces I'm going to touch upon. What does it look like in ACPS? How will it impact our policies? And then what's our plan to support our students with AI? So I want to start with this quote, evaluate technologies with curiosity and skepticism. This is a line from our technology plan that we have in place currently for 2023 to 2028. And we really have been leaning upon these words as we enter the realm of AI. So there may be times when you think we are moving really fast. There may be times when you think we are moving really slow. We're really trying to find the right balance for how we move forward. So hopefully you will see that in the presentation this evening. So the first piece is, of course, what does it look like in ACPS? So on the screen, if you attended or watched the board presentation, this slide will look familiar to you, but it's changed since January. So the Virtual Learning Leadership Alliance has a framework for school districts as it relates to artificial intelligence. And there are 3 areas that they hit upon: investigating, implementing, and innovating. So on the screen, you'll see the different areas that we have listed here. Learning assessment, student use, and business and technology operations are under the investigating lens. And, those are things that we are aware of. We haven't really put any consistent work into those yet. We're exploring and understanding. We do have artificial intelligence tools or parts of some of our tools that we use that support our operations currently, but on a wide scale, we're still in the exploration phase for that. Implementing everything that you see here listed as implementing are things that we will touch upon this evening. And then for outreach, we're moving from implementing to innovating, and where that falls in the framework is really when you get to the point where you are working with families and doing outreach, which is what we are doing this evening. So those are the 8 key areas. You also may be familiar with this timeline. I know Dr. Hoover touched upon it a bit. We started our journey really about this time last year, and throughout the fall, we went through our Virginia Association of School Superintendents Generative AI Year of Learning, completed that the last full day in January, and we had a graduation last month where we were presented 2 of our artifacts. We've received staff input from over 200 staff members. We're currently in our professional learning phase for the spring, and then as we look to the summer and fall, that's where we're really focusing in on what this looks like for our students. And I'll talk more about that this evening. And then, of course, the last piece is ongoing. That's continuing to monitor, understand the tools that we're using, making sure our policies are aligned as well, and keeping everyone updated. So we've created 2 documents that I think really highlight where we are. So one is an AI philosophy, and a part of that philosophy, within the philosophy, we have our guiding principles. So when we think about AI, we want it to be purposeful. I'll touch upon the guiding principles in a moment. We really want it to play a supportive role. We don't want it to replace our staff or our students or their expertise, as well as their own innovation and creativity. And then also, we really want to focus in on privacy and making sure that how we use AI is secure for our staff and students. Our 6 guiding principles are listed here. And we are really proud of these. The group that that went through the training, the professional learning, really spent a lot of time combing through every single word to make sure it really aligned with ACPS. So within each guiding principle, we have what we call critical elements. Those help us to really understand what that guiding principle looks like. And we also have an ethical use critical element for each of those pieces. So for transparency, you'll see it's listed here. We felt like it was really important for us to really lay that out for people, whether that be staff or students or our families, to understand what this looks like from an ethical lens, instead of just saying we will use it ethically and then leave it up to people's interpretation. So we really wanted to outline that. When we think about our ACPS policies and regulations, we have identified those policies that may be impacted by artificial intelligence. And we're in the process of reviewing those and then making any revisions or additions that may be needed. So for example, one that we've been working on the last week has been our responsible use policy. So, you know, we've combed through every single line. And then what we felt the best solution for making sure that we are touching upon AI in that policy is to include the language that says the use of artificial intelligence to violate this policy is prohibited. So we know that AI can be used in many different ways, and if we tried to list out all the different ways students or staff could use AI to violate the policy, it felt like we would constantly be needing to revise it. So we really put that blanket statement in there. For additional policies, if there are more specific examples that are needed, we will work through that as we go through this process. And then one key thing also to note is that we do not have one specific AI policy. We have AI noted, we're noting AI within policies, but we have our philosophy to really help ground our work. For staff engagement, I mentioned earlier, we've engaged over 200 staff members. Most of that was in the fall. So those were through surveys and focus groups. They helped us to review our draft guiding principles and share any feedback, as well as looking at our philosophy. All of our principals and assistant principals have facilitated staff AI introduction. So we provided them with a consistent presentation, and we did a train the trainer model for them. And they've gone back to their schools and introduced AI to their staff. So all of our ACPS staff members have gone through that as well. At the end of the school-based AI introduction, staff are provided with access to a Canvas course that we created. So we really wanted one place to host any of our AI-related information, as well as any professional learning. So we're continuing to keep that updated for staff. But that Canvas course is really, we're really proud of it. And it really is a kind of the landing page for everything for our staff. And then finally, we have some staff working groups. So we have staff that have identified that they are interested in being more involved. And so some of that work includes helping to create the guidelines for students that we'll be using in the fall, thinking about specific subject areas and what that looks like, as well as teaching our students how to utilize AI responsibly. So on one of the following slides, I'm going to show you a resource, and I can share with you a little bit about how one of those working groups has helped to redesign that. And then finally, the big piece that I think is probably on most of your minds is what does this look like for students, and how will we support them? So we know that almost any career that our students might go into in the future is going to be impacted by AI. The genie's out of the bottle. There's no way to put it back. And so our thinking on this is to really make sure that they have the skills that they need to use it appropriately, and also to help them to advance in their chosen fields. So we have 3 different ways here that AI may impact students in the future. One of the things that I find really interesting is the quote that's in blue, and it's roles for AI and machine learning specialists, data analysts, and scientists, and digital transformation specialists are expected to grow rapidly. So what that means is you might not be someone who's specifically works in computer science, but you might work in finance or in business, and understanding how AI can transform your chosen field, roles that really understand how AI might support specific fields are going to continue to grow rapidly. So we want our students to be to have the skills to do that. And then also really the term reskilling is one that that is used often to think about how we ensure that students can use AI effectively to support whatever it is that they're passionate about for the future. We also have a student survey that's out right now, which we are very excited about. This survey has, so far as of today, received over 1,600 responses from students in grades 6 through 12. So we asked them 10 questions. They were either multiple choice, checkbox, or a couple of them were Likert scale. And we really wanted to understand their views on AI, how they might be utilizing them already in ways that we're just not aware of on a larger scale. And so this is the response for how often do you use AI to help you with your schoolwork. A third of the students that responded, a little over a third, said never. Another third said rarely. And then the final third really said, I use it at least a few times a week, a month, or daily. We know that also that in this survey, students are self-reporting. So there may be times when students might not feel comfortable sharing a specific response, but we're very excited to have the data that we do have so far. And then finally, we ask them what they need to know, and this will help inform our work over the summer and supporting our students when they come back to school. So understanding how to write a prompt to get the response that you're looking for was one thing that 20% of our students asked for. They want to know how to use it responsibly, and they also want to know what's allowed and what's not allowed for them. So when we think about our students, we're using the survey results, we're working with our staff and creating guidelines for students to use AI responsibly. And then our plan is to roll these out at the beginning of the year, starting with our high school students in the fall semester. We know that we already have students that are utilizing AI. Our students are intelligent, they're creative, they're already using some of these tools. And so our goals are to help support them in using them responsibly and understanding when it's appropriate and how it might be appropriate to do so. So in a specific classroom, it might look like the teacher and student usage resource, which I'll share with you in just a moment. The goal for that is to really provide common language, not just for the students, but for the staff. We have a student reflection and request form that allows them to share how they would like to use AI on an assignment. It also asks them how they're going to ensure that the work remains their own, and then also how they're going to check the accuracy of the information that they're receiving. And then the last thing I'm excited to tell you about this evening is something that we are currently exploring, which is called Securely Chat. Securely Chat is built into Securely, which is our content filter. We also use it for our 24/7 monitoring. But they have essentially, it's a redirect. So if a student were to go to ChatGPT, we can set it so that it redirects them to Securely Chat, where we can have guardrails built around that system for our students, and also we can also monitor as well. So I'll share a little bit more about that in just a moment. So this is the example of the teacher resource rubric, and this is a draft, of course, and actually this is changing based off of one of the staff work groups. So it really helps us to understand the description of the work, what the expectation might be, and then what type of AI usage might be appropriate, whether that's no AI at all, or using AI as a collaborator to support you. So when we sat down with teachers with this rubric, one of the things that they said is this rubric makes it feel like the goal is always to move up to the blue section for AI as an essential tool. So that's one of the reasons why we are strongly engaging with our staff. And this rubric is actually changing to be each of the different colors: no AI, AI is a coach, AI is collaborator, and essential tool will each be their own separate sections, because in some instances, it may be appropriate to use AI as an essential tool, and in some instances, it may not be appropriate to use it at all. So we're really considering the voice of our teachers in that. And then again, the key thing with this is we really want to provide common language. So if a student's in a math class and they travel to their English class, the teachers are using the same language, and it's consistent across the division. And then with Securely Chat, this is a screenshot for you. So it operates very similarly to other generative AI tools such as ChatGPT or Google Gemini. As a school division, we're able to set up specific guardrails and protocols. So in the screenshot here, it asks, the student says, can you please write me a term paper about Joan of Arc? So then the response from Securely Chat is, I'm sorry, but according to your school policy, I can't write your term paper. Here are ways that I can help to support you as you go through that process. These are ways you can get started. Another key thing that we can do within Securely Chat is set specific parameters. So if we were to say all dogs are purple and set that up as one of our school division's parameters in Securely Chat, if a student were to type in, write a story about a Labrador and a Chihuahua, and in that story, both of those dogs would be purple because ACPS has determined that all dogs are purple, and in our school division, that is what we have set forth. So we're very excited about Securely Chat. Our plan is to continue to iron out some details, and then hopefully start piloting that in the next couple of months with some student groups. And then again, back to our timeline. So, which I hope makes more sense now after going through this presentation. We're in between the purple and the red. We're continuing with our professional learning. And now we're really moving towards that student guidance piece as we move into the summer and the fall. And those are our AI updates that we have for you. I know that there may be many questions, and we welcome them, and we want to hear from you. And one of the things that we are most excited about when speaking with parents is understanding the questions that we haven't thought of yet, or specific instances that might be important. So I will stop sharing my screen, and we will take any of those now.
I have a question about Securely, actually. So like our family has had trouble with it in the past, in that, and I've asked this at the school level and at higher, but like a family is supposed to be able to monitor what their kid is doing and block websites that are clearly games, so that their child is not on those during the school day. And I have found that that's not always possible. That it often says like the domain does not allow me to block that. Um, and so, and it's also, you're supposed to be able to set off times at night where your child's device should not work. And we have found that for my child's device, the only thing that didn't work was Canvas. He was able to still game when we would find him on his laptop. And so I don't have a whole lot of trust of Securely due to my personal experiences as a family. And I'm just wondering, what your thoughts are on how we're going to make sure that this is actually going to do what we hope it does.
So Katie, I would like to talk to you and learn more about your experience with that. understand what is happening for your experience, and we can investigate that, because we do find that Securely has actually been a great partner with us, and we've taken things to them, and they've assisted us. We do have issues, and this may not be your issue at all, but finding kids finding proxies and getting around that, and that has been one thing. And then also we've worked with them. They were not blocking sites that were uncategorized. They were allowing that, and they have changed that process now, and they block it if it's uncategorized, and then we have the opportunity to categorize it and make that decision. So that's been some few improvements. But I'd love to talk to you more about your experience, because for us, they've actually been a good partner, and unlike other partners, they continue to improve without charging us for improvements. So like this feature is not an additional cost for us. So if you don't mind, if we could talk about that
Yeah, I can
more.
reach out later. That's great to hear. I've asked TIFs, like I've asked in the school system, and I've had a really hard time getting a clear answer. It looks like Sally, you have a question. Would you like me to read it, or would you like to just?
Yeah, thanks, Katie. First of all, thank you both for coming to speak tonight on this topic. It's great to hear since our last conversation how far you've come and the lessons learned from what sounds like a very fruitful and productive year learning about, investigating, and implementing some best practices related to AI. But I'm curious how you're working with and learning from neighboring school districts to inform the approach to AI, particularly in the classroom within ACPS, and how our efforts compare to some of the neighboring school districts. Is there a dialogue? Did they participate in this course of study as well? How do you kind of work together, or do you on this front?
Katie, I mean, Sally, that's a great question. So we participated, our professional learning was with other Region 4 schools. So maybe 6 or 7 other divisions were working through with us. And when we had our graduation, there were 72 divisions that participated in this AI in Virginia. And actually, we were selected to share 2 of our artifacts. We were one of 11 school divisions to share that. So it is continuing. And we've asked, all of the school divisions have asked if we can move forward with this professional learning. We are all sharing resources. So that's been the best part of it. We could say, oh, look, Arlington did this awesome thing. And the culture around it has been like, great, take it, share it. So we all have access right now to each other's work. And I think that's probably been one of the best things about this experience is we are collaborating with ourselves, but also with the other divisions. And everyone's been so open to sharing.
It looks like Andy also put a question in the chat. He said, was there any survey or feedback from teachers and staff who have taken the training? What kinds of questions or feedback have they provided? Oh, and there you are, Andy, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You
That's a great question. So we have had some feedback from staff that have gone through the training. The training was provided from February through April. So we have schools that have just finished up, and we had some schools that started 2 months ago with the training. So we gave our principals the time and space to select a date that worked best for their schools and their meeting calendars. So specifically from the high school, we've had questions around just really understanding, okay, so what does this practically look like as a next step in our classroom? One piece of that training is the ability for interested staff to indicate that they would like to take a larger role in the planning of that. So we do have some staff that have done that. We have some school-based administrators that have reached out and said, please let me help with this. So we're pulling that data currently. And another question or feedback that we have had from staff includes some of the professional learning cohorts that we have in ACPS. So we have 2 cohorts that we specifically sat down with and showcase the training to them early. The Teacher Leadership Project, as well as the Teachers of Innovation cohort, which is a new cohort for us. And so they've asked very similar questions. All right, we're excited about this. Let's make, we want to make sure that we're doing this well, and we want to make sure that we understand specifically what this means for us moving into next year. So they're setting us up for the next phase of work with this, which I know will be a big push. But it seems that their feedback is aligned to the plans that we have currently. And I will add, there's been no big pushback from staff. A year ago, we were having some unique conversations and really trying to understand what is this going to look like. And I will say, it's been evident that the thinking around AI has evolved from the instructional lens, as well as from those of us that have gone through the professional learning. Our understanding of the capabilities and possibilities have changed as well. So it's been interesting over the last year to see a shift in attitudes in the way that staff are thinking about it.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add on to that. Last spring we were feeling like, oh, maybe we're behind because people were putting policies in place. And this work that we've done together was so well worth the time, because I feel like we are at the right place for us at this moment. And we have a better understanding of AI, and really, this is not just an initiative, and this is certainly not just a technology initiative. This is a education initiative in every sector, but so education needs to embrace it as a whole and understand, how we're going to do this best for our kids and for our staff.
Can I maybe ask one other question? I'm just kind of building on a little bit of the training is trying to find ways to communicate that to the parents, and we're thinking of things in our PTA like boot camps. I teach AI to university and professors, so it's a very topic of interest to me, and I'm just curious if there are plans to kind of help educate parents, and could the PTAs be a good conduit for that kind of education as this rolls out?
My answer is yes. I think the PTA would be great. And in fact, we went to ACHS PTA meeting on Monday night. So, but I do think there are ways that we can be innovative moving forward, because I know there's a lot of interest, and some parents are just scared of technology in general. And then you add AI on it, and just talking with even friends, people are intimidated and don't even know how to start asking the right questions. And so I think that's an area, we could certainly collaborate with and find different ways to open those avenues for parents.
Would there be opportunities to do things like just kind of like either showcasing or like demos, where at a PTA event, like what we're thinking of having is just like showing examples of how both parents and kids and, the teachers are using AI, just to kind of, soften that edge a bit and make it more approachable.
Yes, and I think one thing is some of our tools that our teachers use already have AI built within them. And I think that's a good place to start, where, okay, look at this tool that we're really familiar with, and let me show you how it's improved because of their use of AI. And that it could be an area to start with. And I know Dr. Diller could talk to the TISs and help us support schools with those presentations.
Yes, we would love to share more of that. And like Dr. Hoover said, some of the tools that we are currently using and have used for years have built-in AI components. And so some of those are time savers for staff, helping them to generate assessment questions based off of specific SOLs. They might be helping them to understand specific playlists for maybe if you're using a tool like BrainPop and looking at different content videos, like helping them to curate those lists and providing recommendations for them, which is really helpful, as well as supporting with translation and in some ways some accessibility features as well. So so that might be a way for us to really showcase that not only does it allow us to do new creative things, but it also can help to save time for our teachers so they can maintain the focus on more essential tasks and help with some of those administrative pieces. And I see one question in the chat of who will do the teaching to the students, teachers, TISs. We are really taking this as a community approach. So in our buildings, we want and we need our teachers to understand how AI works. So when we started with the training, the introduction for staff, we purposefully worked with our school administrators and Dr. Finney's team to make sure that our principals and assistant principals felt comfortable introducing this. And we felt like that was really important. Our TISs are incredible. Chanel Alford is one of them. She's one of our ACHS TISs. And she's one of, at the high school at King Street, she's one of 2 people in the building that have that role. So, so we know that this can't fall on one person. So when we think about supporting our teachers, especially at the middle and high school level, when we really start thinking about students using those tools, we want to make sure that our teachers can feel comfortable and have the skills to lead that. At the elementary level, where we are really, that's an area that we still need to do some exploration in. But we know that students might be familiar with the term AI, or they may have heard of some of the tools. Things like the Common Sense curriculum has built in specific lessons to really, especially for older elementary students, to start understanding vocabulary of what is artificial intelligence. If you're typing an email and words pop up that, predictive text, that's coming from somewhere. So really understanding what that looks like is important for us. But it's a community effort, and in the classroom, it will be our teachers with support of our TISs and of course our administrators as well.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for the technology team?
I just have one quick question, just going back to securely. Can you just tell me who is ultimately responsible for communicating that securely exists for parents, like at the beginning of the year?
So it's generally the schools let us know when they're going to send home something, send home devices, and the schools then share that information with parents. And that's with the elementary schools too, because elementary schools had the option of sending them at different times, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us, because we are really, excited about this. And I actually want to give a shout out to our superintendent, because she has been really interested in leading the way and wants to learn all about this. She's been a real partner in this. And so that really makes a difference going into something like this. So thank you to Dr. Kay Wyatt.
Dr. Hoover, you know what I say, one team, and I know you all get tired of me saying that, but we do this together. So thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate you being here and bringing the whole team. It was really great. We will turn it over to Dr. Reef next.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I noticed I got a shout out to all the IT folks. You all have the same background. It has the core value innovative. I noticed that you all are coordinated there. So that's nice. So when Dr. K. Wyatt was talking, those were all the points I was going to hit. So I'll try to just like keep it brief, but just like hit a couple things. As she mentioned, last night, City Council had their add delete session, and they reached a consensus of the full council to do the add for 1.189 million for ACPS. So we're very excited about that. Really appreciate the advocacy of PTAC and the PTAs, and encourage you to reach out and thank City Council for their support of our schools. They canceled their second add delete session, and they're scheduled to adopt their budget on April 30th. And then next Monday is the deadline for the governor to sign the budget bill. And so we're, of course, waiting patiently to see what he's going to do. And then we have a special called meeting on May 1st, which is when Dr. K. White will present an adjusted budget. And then I'm going to put in the chat a link to the budget calendar if you're like really interested. It's got a lot of dates on it, but we're nearing the tail end. But we basically, just to kind of respond to Maureen's question from earlier, the school board goes through a similar process to what we do in the January, February timeframe, where it gets presented, we have 2 work sessions, we submit questions, get answers, and then we submit, school board members can submit add deletes, get co-sponsors, and then we go through an add delete process. So we will go through all of that. And then we're scheduled to adopt the final budget at our last board meeting, which is on June 12th. There is a public hearing on the budget. So if anybody would like to sign up for that, it's going to be on May 6th. It's a special meeting. I think it's a Tuesday night. So I want to encourage you all to come out or sign up for that if you have feedback that you want to share with us. And then on redistricting, Dr. K. Wyatt talked about the new maps that were shared yesterday. So I encourage you to tune in. We now have updates on redistricting at every board meeting. So I think we're going to get a little bit more explanation and into some of those new maps tomorrow evening. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the community meeting, I encourage you to do that. And we, just so everyone is clear on sort of like our timeline process, the final vote is scheduled for June 12th, but the recommendations are supposed to come to the board on May 29th. We've scheduled 2 separate public hearing dates. One is May 12th, so it's like ahead of that. And then there will be another public hearing June 5th. So after the final recommendation comes to the board, there'll be a public hearing before the vote on June 12th. So I wanted to just kind of stress that, and definitely check out the redistricting webpage. I'm assuming everybody in this group probably has, but the maps are they're really, easy to use and read on that page. Let's see what else. We do have a school board meeting tomorrow night. Some other topics, we're getting an overview of student services, as well as we'll have an update on the division's literacy efforts and the Virginia Literacy Act. So that might be of interest to some of you all. Dr. K. Wyatt mentioned the city schools subcommittee meeting, which is Monday at 5 p.m. That's also a meeting that's recorded. It's open to the public. It'll be at the school board meeting room at 5 p.m. And we're continuing our discussion around the bus routes and DASH and what else? I wanted to also hit, Dr. K. Wyatt mentioned the planning for summer learning. I want to emphasize, and I did this last month, that the deadline to sign up for summer learning is this Sunday, I believe. It's April 27th. So I know a lot of parents, like, people miss that deadline. And so I just really want to make a big push to, just to remind your parents and your schools, hey, like, we have these great summer learning programs in ACPS, and the deadline to sign up for that is April 27th. Let's see. That's about it. I'm also, just like everyone else, we're like working our way to the end of the school year. I'm very excited. Looking forward to graduation on May 28th. I think I've shared before that my oldest daughter's graduating, and over spring break, she committed to Syracuse University. So we're super excited. And then, of course, can't wait until the end of the school year on June 12th. And we have a school board meeting that night on the last day of school. We got to keep Dr. K. Wyatt working as long as, but as always, I just want to thank everyone for all you do for our schools. We appreciate you, and let's all finish the year strong. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I actually have a quick question. Should we expect more maps after last night, or?
Maybe Dr. K. White would like to weigh in on that.
Yes, I will weigh in. So what we're doing is we're working from those 3 maps because we've taken all that feedback. If there has to be some revisions or something to those 3 existing maps, that's what we're going to take back the feedback from last night. was last night, right? Like I'm getting my days confused. Last night, we've got a rack meeting and just, we're already getting some ask questions. And so we're going to put all that in to see if there's revisions to make it perfect instead of starting kind of all over. Now, if there's something glaring, you know, we'll determine, but please understand that all comes from the recommendations of the rack and the steering committee, not just us, you know, getting one email. We put it all together and weigh in. So
Can I
there will
just
most likely be revisions.
can I just add on a question to that? Because there was some confusion of where the 3 maps kind of the focus point now, and the other ones are no longer on the table. Because yeah, last night somebody said that the other ones are still on the table. So could you just
Yes.
clarify sort of what's on the table so far?
Yes, and we're going to do that tomorrow night. Thank you for that, Mr. Schmidt. We're definitely going to do that because we heard that. So just for clarity, the 3 maps are the focus points for now, because hopefully we took the feedback from all of the other colors. We're saying colors and shapes, all the colors, you know, maps, put those into the shape maps, you know, and then, but we do know that there are some challenging areas in there that we need to address, which is why I'm using the word revision. So we don't have to start all over, because I don't want to lose the perspectives that were provided through the RAC, as well as, you know, the other community meeting, the community meeting from last night. So we don't want to lose that information. So we'll work from the 3 that we have and make edits and revisions to those. So I don't know what we're going to call them, you know, Sunshine and Happy, whatever they're going to be called, you know, we may name them after you all, but whatever it is, it's going to be working from those 3 maps because we've taken pieces. Now, last night there was a question someone said to me, but there was a really great piece that I liked in the, I don't remember what color, yellow map. And I said, well, send that to us, since it's that one piece that could impact one of the shape maps. Then we can build that and just make those tweaks and revisions instead of starting all over, because it's a lot of information to remember all the maps, even for us. And we look at them every single day. While you guys were talking, I was just thinking, as soon as I get off, I'm going to go. My phone and my laptops are, you know, both going off here at the same time, because we're getting questions and emails and that type of feedback from people who saw that. So I encourage everyone again. I think tomorrow night's presentation, you'll have an even better understanding, because we are going to go over those 3 maps again. We'll have Mr. Johnson present those, I believe, tomorrow night. And so because it's hard to like process and digest them all at once. So if you're like me, I need my pens and my markers and my sticky notes to kind of, you know, bring it all together. I am that age where I'm still a paper person. And I know Ms. Brownback, don't laugh at me, because I tell her that all the time when she sees me looking down and writing notes when we're meeting. But really just to take the time to hear it again, then you can still provide us questions. We're going to be going through all of that polling information that was provided. But please, if you see something, please send an ask, because like I said, my laptop is pinging as I'm sitting here with, you know, how about this? And what about this from this color map? And so we're going to pull all that back together. And now we're not going to have that for tomorrow night. I just want everyone to understand where we are with the 3, but we will give, I feel like I'm doing the presentation for tomorrow, so I better pull back. So now you all have a little insight, but we will be kind of highlighting what we did hear from the community just in that short, quick time. Not everything, but we will definitely be doing that, because we want you all to know, as a community, we hear you. And especially it gives a different perspective. I think I was saying to someone earlier, it's kind of like when you have a, you know, this is back in the day when we used to write papers and type them, and you want someone to kind of go back and look at the edits, and you're like, how could I misspell something so easy, right? And so we've looked at them so much, it gives us another perspective by you saying, you know what, I looked at it and this is what I saw. And so it's just very helpful for us. So please continue to send that. We're reading them. And I apologize because I forgot to hit schedule send one night and responded to, I think it's somebody on here. So if your phone went off at 11 o'clock, again, I apologize. Dr. Reef, I'm sorry. I know you told me not to work that late, but I was like so into it. And I was like, I forgot to hit schedule send. And so I wouldn't wake anyone up, but we do read them. And I know Dr. Finney and I, we joked one night, we were emailing back and forth. So we do read each of those that come through. And so please continue to send that information, and we're just really grateful for it. So, and I've over talked, and I think I gave away a lot of that. So please don't tell my team, act like it's a surprise for us tomorrow. So
Thank you very much.
thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Sorry, that was much longer than you probably wanted me to say.
Nope. I'll take all the information I can get. It's great. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, Dr. Reef, I'll be
Oh,
quiet.
no. Any other questions?
This looks like the staff on our first day back after spring break. We were just sitting there. Everyone's like, okay, we can do this. We can make it through the first day back. we're awake now.
We're awake. I guess if no one, I can't believe there aren't any more questions, frankly. But if there aren't any more questions, we will let these nice people be done and do the extra fun PTA business stuff that we have to get through tonight. Unless you all want to stay, which you are always welcome. I always say you're always welcome. Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions, thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Reef. We look forward to seeing the whole presentation tomorrow, Dr. K. Wyatt.
Thank you.
And thank you all again from the technology team and Dr. Finney. It was lovely to see you. And we will move on to the fun PTA business. And so just a quick housekeeping reminder is that we are having Virginia PTA Day on Saturday, May 17th. It's so fun. Some of us will be driving down. There is also a dinner the night before with an award ceremony that some of us will be going to as well. You are welcome to join us for part of it, for both parts. There will be one fun speaker I'm going to plug is Ann Holton. This is Tim Kaine's wife, actually, and she sits on the state board, the state school board. I'm not entirely sure I have that term correct, but it's close. Apparently, she's very inspiring, and she is going to speak. Maureen is saying she's amazing. Thank you, Maureen. So that'll be really interesting on Saturday if you're nerdy and really into this stuff like I am. And we would love to have you. That is all. So next, Julia, it's your turn.
Searching for the mute button. Sorry, everyone. Yes, we're excited to present our almost there 2025-2026 PTAC slate, and especially thrilled that Terry Generelli, our very own Terry, will be, we're presenting as the next PTAC president. So really, really excited for her leadership and tenure. So thanks, Terry, for stepping up in this way. Past President Katie Brownback, open position with VP of Outreach. We have comms, Sharon Pearson. Yay, Sharon, thank you for stepping up. I don't think she's here, but we'll celebrate her. VP of Programs is open. We have Nicole Weston stepping up for advocacy. So thank you, Nicole from Ramsey. She's wonderful. We've had the opportunity to work with Nicole on Spring Fling and on other wonderful initiatives with PTAC. So really thrilled to have her. Treasurer is open. And then late breaking secretary, Allison Lathner. So yay, that's wonderful. If anyone on this call is interested in the open positions, please, please, please do reach out. I know Cynthia Mehta and I have been working on finding especially someone who might have previous PTA unit treasurer experience or familiarity and comfort with budget. So yes, please do reach out. Yay. Yes, Maureen, I agree. We're really excited, Terry. Anything else, Katie, that I should cover on the slate?
We vote next month, right?
Vote next month. Stay tuned.
And maybe Cynthia can confirm, but the rumor is being the PTAC treasurer is easier than being a unit treasurer because there's fewer transactions. But I will let Cynthia answer that because I have never been a treasurer, which is good for you all. Okay.
Oops, she's on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, I realize I'm on mute. Yeah, I've been trying to push that out. That definitely, if any of you have done the PTA unit treasurer position or know someone that has, please help encourage them to be open to the PTAC position. I keep saying how great the group is, and I think it is really great. We have guest speakers come in on our meetings, and yeah, so really trying to advocate for someone to come on. But everyone so far I've I've reached out to, they just don't have the capacity to put it up. But there's one other person I've reached out to, I'm waiting for. But of course, if anyone does know of anyone, please put the word out. Oh, Terry.
Specifically for all of these open positions, is there a little paragraph blurb we can pass on to our PTA units saying that, these are still available, any interested parties, contact whomever, so that we can push it locally with the leaders that we already kind of have homegrown in our PTAs?
Absolutely.
That's a great idea. We could blast that out probably tomorrow or Friday.
We used to have job descriptions.
Something like that, just so people would
Yeah.
understand what is VP programs expected to do, what is VP
I feel like that's on the drive somewhere, Katie.
Okay, I can look for that. Okay, so now we'll turn it over to Cynthia for real.
Thanks, Katie. Common theme is I think all of us now after spring break, summer is fast approaching, and we've definitely learned from some past years that having the Zoom expenses covered for in the summer budget versus having it be something that we're passing through in late September would be a best interest for everyone. So we're putting together a proposed budget. The numbers presented here is including, the majority of this is for the Zoom. The Wix domain is like a $15 fee. So the majority of this is the Zoom. Last year, we did have a pretty high increase that came through of 14%. Right now, the number presented here is a 10% increase. I don't anticipate having another big increase like last year. But yeah, so this is what we're proposing. These are the majority of the expense that does come through in the summer before we have our official budget season come through in late September. So if there's no questions or concerns, I move that the proposed budget as presented be approved.
It looks like Maureen gave a thumbs up.
Second the motion.
So anyone do we have to vote all in favor, I guess? Or if you're opposed, shout out, make a sound. And just a reminder that we're encouraging all units to do this if you have summer expenses, because technically you're not allowed to spend money until you've had that first meeting and you've passed your budget. So if you plan to spend money this summer, if you plan to have like a back to school event, this is a great plan. Like make a summer budget.
Yeah,
Make it
particularly like going into early September, late August, if there's any expenses as you're getting ready for the new year, it would be good to have a summer budget.
Okay, so we will officially vote on the budget next month. And then Cynthia, you have the next financials, right? I think.
Okay, yep. Yeah, so yeah, if you go to the next slide. Okay, so then on our receipt side, we did receive, since our last meeting, a $250 payment from Lyles Crouch. Thank you very much to that PTA unit. And we're expected to get another 500. We just got word from GW Middle School that they're going to be sending $500 over to PTAC. So appreciate that donation. And then we also received Spring to Action donations as well. Not quite how we were expecting it to be, but maybe we'll still see some come through before the end of the year, but just under $1,000 came through. And then on our next slide, on our expenditure side, we did get from Pallavi, thank you for sending that through, some reflections, reimbursements for the winners at the state and national level. So we'll get that processed. And then we did send out a grant fund payment to Patrick Henry PTA for $1,200. And we also have another one to grant out to GW, which kind of looking at the timing, we're receiving a refund or a donation from them and we expenditure kind of netting out, but a $350 grant fund back to GW. It's for a Screenager event that they're hosting. Sounds pretty cool for tweens and teens with phones. And it's covering for half that cost of that, hosting that documentary. That's our activity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Guess it's my turn. Hope you can't hear my husband's band practicing in the basement. But that's happening right now. And if anyone wants to see a bunch of dads and one mom, they're performing Sunday night at Number 9 Lounge. So just a shout out with their original Band with No Name. That's actually the name of the band. Anyway, so I'm competing with that noise tonight. We've already, I mean, Michelle and Dr. K. Wyatt talked at length about where the budget stands. I just want to give a huge shout out to Katie and to the PTSA crew. They were kind of relentless with this budget advocacy this season. Julia and Meta also were in the mix too, but Katie really deserves a ton of credit for all of her behind the scenes wrangling. So I just want to just really shout out to her. Katie, you knocked it out of the park. I don't know if everyone's aware of how many meetings she arranged, multiple meetings, sometimes with city council. So awesome job for those of us who are kind of tired by it all at this point. So I really appreciate Katie, you picking up the slack. And the PTSA did an awesome job too for advocating for their positions that they wanted funded. So it sounds like there's one more advocacy opportunity on the 6th. We'll send out an email to units to ask, their presence, if they want some specific, I guess it would be an FTE or with this money, make their case on May 6th. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Maureen. And thank you for all you did as well. Appreciate it. Oh, I also stuck in, I'm sorry, Maureen. I stuck in a little bit about redistricting, but we just heard it from both Dr. Reith and Dr. K. Wyatt. But just keep reminding your units that vote is coming June 12th. The time to speak up is running out. And now Sue's going to tell us about the awesome, I think Sue's going to tell us about the awesome DEI event you had.
A month and a half ago, we had a Dr. Jackson and Brielle Welch and Kenitra Wood came and presented equity, and then we did like a breakout, which was pretty amazing. I'm going to put in the chat the actual on the ACPS website. They have student services and equity. They also have these building bond series, which are pretty interesting, and they're recorded, so you can go back to the ones that you've missed. But basically, the meeting that we had in, I think it was the beginning of March now, or maybe the end of February, we were talking about how to build better equity and more participation within your PTA meetings. And I will also I'll share in the notes, Katie, the document that we went through in the breakout rooms, which we're just asking some questions. We had about 3 or 4 people in each group, and it was just really kind of blue skying, like who's present, who can we reach out to, why do we think people are coming or not coming, and to be a more kind of an inclusive environment. So that was a really great meeting. The other things we're going, I just wanted to also, Katie, put a plug for the Summer Resource Fair, which is next Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30. It's at the high school. We have almost 100 vendors coming. It's for everyone, all the families. So K through 12, they'll have things like camps there. They'll have some sports. They'll have some high school sport committees. They're going to have community organizations such as food sources for the summer, some employment opportunities, health and wellness. So, I mean, it's really across the board. So it should have come, I think you should have seen it on Parent Square, but I could also include the flyer in the notes for PTAC too. And there's,
And there will be,
for some of
was
your schools, there's buses also available. So I think they're going from, near Ramsey and, okay, yeah. Katie would know.
Southern Towers, I believe, as well.
And the Southern Towers, yeah.
And there will be pizza is what I added for Sue. So there will be
Pizza, yes. And PTAC is very generous, and PTSA at the high school is also helping with that. We're doing this in conjunction with communities and schools, and also the Family Engagement Office and Communications through ACPS. So it's a pretty big, there'll be a lot of people there. So if you haven't signed up already, please sign up. I think there's also childcare for those that are interested.
and I'll just do a plug if you want to come help hand out pizza. You're welcome to join
Yes,
us.
we have. Oh, we also have a volunteer sign up. We're still looking for a few volunteers too to help people come around. There will be translators. So just helping direct people would also be awesome. And stand next to Katie and I handing out pizza. And or come to our PTSA/PTAC table. If you want to give any information about your PTAs, that you could also give us some information and we can share that on our table.
Thank you, Sue. I will try to plug the volunteer.
It was in both GW and PTSA this week. I think I can find it if you need it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Sue. Does anyone have any questions for Sue? Everybody's just raising their hand to come hand out pizza, right? Please. No, just kidding. Okay.
Sure.
I think that might be it for the night, kids, friends. So next month, May 21st, we will vote on our lovely slate, and hopefully we'll have a few additions from the floor to fill those final positions. And then we'll also vote on that summer budget. And that will probably be our final official PSAC meeting of the year, unless something goes wrong. I'll keep you posted. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for asking questions. Thank you all for all you are doing. And I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have
Bye,
a good
all.
night.
Meta, do we turn off the recording?